Hey everyone, I'm Sky and welcome to my channel. Today I'm excited to jump into the 3D printing on YouTube challenge that Angus from Maker's Muse has recently brought back. Now when he first did this 8 years ago, I wasn't part of the 3D printing on YouTube community or even the 3D printing community. So I'm very excited to be around for this one and to jump in. In his video, which I definitely recommend you go and check out if you haven't already, he poses 5 key questions for us to answer. As someone who works in the 3D printing industry and having been part of this amazing journey for the last few years, I wanted to join in and share my own thoughts and experiences. So let's dive in. Question 1. When did you first hear about 3D printing? I think I first heard about 3D printing when I was in high school. I was in my final year. Unfortunately, I didn't do any design-based topics for my studies in my final year. So I didn't actually get a chance to use a 3D printer at that point. They'd only got it when I was there for the final year, which was really disappointing. Fast forward to 2019, I got involved in the Helium Crypto project, which involved placing radio transmitting equipment outdoors on antennas. This stuff was DIY. At the time I was a student, I thought I could 3D print enclosures for radio equipment cheaper than I could buy it. Turns out that wasn't the case because PLA doesn't really survive too well outside. Successfully making a waterproof seal for radio equipment is actually a lot harder than it sounds. I'm no engineer. Question 2. What was the first thing you 3D printed? As I just mentioned, the first thing I really printed for myself was an enclosure for some radio equipment. Basically just a box, but I think before that, I probably, as per everyone in 3D printing, printed a Benchy. Like, what else are you going to print? On an Ender 3 that I got secondhand off of Facebook Marketplace, I'm fairly certain that the frame was bent because its success rate was definitely below 50%. Probably also came down to user error because I was such a novice at that point. Question 3. Do you see 3D printing as more of a hobby or as a tool? For me, I think this one goes back and forwards between a tool and a hobby. It started off as a tool, as I say, to make these enclosures. After that task was fulfilled, I had an Ender 3 that didn't really live up to what I wanted it to be. I was seeing all these other cool printers out there. There was a lot of new printers coming onto the market at that time, and I wanted to have one of those, but I didn't have the money for one of those. So I decided to basically hot rod my Ender 3. I followed some interesting guides on YouTube from some other creators. It became more of a hobby. I spent a lot of time just modifying, adding parts to my Ender 3 to the point where it no longer looked anything like an Ender 3. It was running on an Octopus board. But then after I had my Ender 3, I got quite heavily involved in the community, ended up working in the 3D printing industry, which has then led it to be more of a tool. So I use my printers to complete my day-to-day tasks in my job, but also just recently we've moved country. We've now moved to Canada from the UK, and there are a lot of things around our new rental home that need upgrading or improving. Like my most recent short that I just launched, I 3D printed a new handle for our sliding door because the one on there was next to useless. Just little things like that, using it to enhance things, replace parts. It's definitely more of a tool at the moment, but I'm very excited for it to become more of a hobby again because I'm due to be getting a new build kit for a new printer. Some of you might know about, but I'm very excited to receive that and hopefully do sort of a build unboxing series maybe, but we'll see what happens with that. Question 4. What is the best 3D printer according to me? Compared to someone like Angus from Maker's Muse, I really don't have enough experience of different varieties of printer to give an accurate answer of this. It depends what you're trying to do with it. If you're just doing little decorative pieces, you could probably get away with something fairly budget. If you're looking to do like car parts or functional industrial printing parts with some of the higher end filaments like PEEK, then you're definitely going to need something higher end. But there are definitely good entry points that can cover all areas. Printers I've currently got are Anchormake, and I love them because they just work 99% of the time. The 1% where they don't work, it's generally down to something I've done or something I've not cleaned or maintained properly. Question 5. What is your number one piece of advice for a beginner? I think my number one piece of advice for a beginner would be to take it slowly and appreciate that there is quite a big learning curve. There are a lot of things that you just wouldn't even consider that could be mucking up your print or causing the quality of your model to not be so good. The way to get around that, I would say, is to find a 3D printing community, whether that be through Discord or Reddit, or go to a makerspace, find somewhere local that has 3D printers and people experience with them. Because not only will this help you troubleshoot and solve a lot of your issues, hopefully it will inspire you to want to push yourself in terms of making your own models rather than just downloading from a model sharing platform. Find a community, take it easy, take it slow, and understand that you've probably got a lot to learn if you're brand new to this space. I want to say thanks again to Angus from Maker's Muse for restarting this challenge, and I'm grateful that I'm around in this space this time to participate. I must apologize for the backdrop. This is my new workshop slash, well, let's call it what it is. It's a garage, or a garage for you Americans. I will be looking to improve the space. As I say, I will be getting a new printer. I'm looking to put more content out there around 3D printing and 3D modeling and building and making. It is something I'm passionate about. I feel like a good way for me to express myself and to push myself is to share it with the community, because that way I get feedback. And just like I said to question 5, it is definitely the best way to enjoy this space, is to have a group of like-minded people or individuals to share your passion with. As I say, I'm very new to this space, so I don't personally know any other creators in the 3D printing on YouTube space. So I'm just going to tag the community as a whole, especially all of you out there who love to create an experiment. I'd love to hear your answers to these 5 questions, even if that is just in a comment down below. Let's keep the conversation going and continue to inspire each other. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and I'm open to any and all feedback in the comments below. And don't forget to use the hashtag 3D printing on YouTube so we can all stay connected and share our experiences. Until next time, happy printing!